Hi again, chess friends. We have a problem in front of us that requires a neat little checkmate by white in 3 moves. And what we need to consider here is right in the center of the board. These are all the key squares here, particularly c5, e5, and c4, e4, and d6. They all come into the reckoning. The key players here, the queen, the knight, and this pawn. Now, black has to submit to this pawn in the 4 main lines, delivering the checkmate on the 3rd move, which is quite incredible. Now, I've just said quite a lot, and it needs time to sink in just exactly what is going on in this position. It's not easy to solve. I did eventually find it, but you do need to take your time with it. And so here we go. What would you say is the key move here, bearing in mind what I've just said? Right, well, the key move is here. I did say the queen will be playing a part, as you would expect. It's already not relinquishing its grip on e5. I appreciate, as no doubt anyone looking at this position would, that the king and the bishop are simultaneously attacking that pawn, and it's only covered by the queen as it was here. But that is not that important. It doesn't need to be overprotected. What we need to do here is to consider the implications for black after queen g5. Well, quite simply, the implications are that the threat is knight c7 check. He only has one move, king c6, and then queen to e7. You see what's happened here? The knight has moved away from covering c6 and has been replaced by the queen that covers the square beyond the king as well, and that is checkmate. Now, black has to avoid that, so what does he do? What would you say he does in this position? We've just played queen on g3 to g5. Well, I can tell you now that any moves other than with the bishop result in what I've just demonstrated. Like queening the pawn, for instance, has no effect because it's knight c7 check. There's no time to do anything with these pieces over here, the knights and that. And at the moment, the king has no legal move. It's vitally important that we control these squares. This is the point here. So let's look at them in the order of the C line first. Bishop c5. Now, what is he trying to do here? Well, of course, he's trying to stop queen e7. So what do? We play d3. Now, this d pawn is coming into play. And the threat, well, unless it's parried, checkmate. So the only way to parry that threat of bishop e4 is rook to c4. Can you see how we finish the game? That's correct. Like I said earlier on, white is going to deliver checkmate with his d pawn, and that is mate. But we're far from finished. Keep watching. Okay, so that is the position after queen on g3 to g5. So we've looked at bishop c5 and it doesn't work. So what about bishop to c3? What happens here? Well, this is really cute. D takes c3 is delivering check. Well, no problem. We take it off. So now, bearing in mind what I said at the beginning, white delivers checkmate with the pawn. Yes. c4 mate. Isn't that nice? But wait for the next variation. It's a mirror image. Of the second variation. That's the position again after queen to g5. So we've looked at bishop c5, bishop c3. What about bishop e3? Try that one. Can you see it? Of course you can. It's the other way around this time, isn't it? D takes e3. Check. There's only one move. See how white is controlling these key squares. Black has no chance. He takes, but now it's not c4, but e4 checkmate. Very nice indeed. You can't go wrong with problems like this, can you? Now, the final variation, and I think this is the most delightful of the lot. That's the position after queen on g3 to g5. It's this one. Bishop takes e5. Now, what does white do here? I mean, he's no pawns to capture. d3 would be of no use. And he can't really get away with knight to c7. Check. Oh, to be sure, the 6th rank is covered. He can't take the knight, no. But he can come here. So, having unblocked this square, we need to find an original solution. Can you see it? That's after queen g5, bishop takes e5. How does white deal with this? Bearing in mind, he has to checkmate with this d-pawn. Right, so we push not d3, but d4. This bishop is pinned. So, what are we threatening here? Well, we're threatening queen e5 mate. And now we are threatening knight c7. Because not only does the pawn take over from the knight covering the square, but it's white backed up by his rook that's blocking this flight square. So how does black avoid that? That's after queen g5, bishop takes e5, d4. Well, he has a flight square here. And when I looked at this, I thought, good God, he's going to get away on d7. And then I thought, no, he isn't. Because what we have here is checkmate with a pawn, but it's also checkmate with a rook, and the rook covers the other side of the king. Isn't that a truly delightful problem? I do hope you enjoyed it as I did, and bye-bye for now.